Today we're talking all about elixir fragrances. In particular, though, the strongest elixir fragrances. Now, these are all expensive, at least at retail, and it's frustrating, but the good thing to come out of that is these all have good performance. I would say most elixir fragrances on the market do perform good, so I guess that is a bonus. The other thing is most of these have hit discounters already, so that helps out quite a bit too. You really shouldn't be paying retails for these because you're throwing extra money into the fire. So, shop at discounters, get these for below retail. A lot of them, it's a considerable amount below retail. And if not right now, as time goes on, they will drop down a bit more as they age a little bit. But, a few of these have been out there for a while and they've started to stabilize a little bit. We only have 7, so am I missing a few? Probably, but these are some notable ones that came to mind first when I was thinking of just some really strong, good performing elixir scents. What do I mean by good performing? I'm really looking at everything 10 plus hours and beyond. Most of these will make it beyond that point. You get to the point, 12 hours and a bit more where it's just kind of like the point of diminishing returns. How many people need a scent to last 16 or 17 hours? That's pretty extreme. So, I'm not saying that none of these will make it there because I'm fairly confident that some of them would. But, 10 plus is kind of what I was shooting for here as a general guide based on if they would make it in the video or not. So again, I'll link all these down below to discounters if you want to do some shopping. We're going to start off at the bottom of the list. So this is kind of starting with the weakest, but again, none of these are weak. I have to put them somewhere, right? So it's Araf Club de Nuit Urban Man Elixir. So this is kind of it's like a hybrid. And so it's a mixture of Sauvage / Luna Rosa Carbon, kind of like a smooth Sauvage, so you could say Sauvage Eau de Parfum or Luna Rosa Carbon, combined with Creed Aventus or Creed Aventus clones, Araf Club de Nuit Intense Man, whatever, right? So that's kind of what you're combining. The relatively blue fragrance forward Sauvage, but just not all of the super strong peppery bergamot, mostly just the softer ambrox and lavender of a Sauvage Eau de Parfum or Carbon, mixed with a woody, birchy, slightly fruity, pineapple-y Creed Aventus is how I would describe this one. And I actually just recently did a video on layering, fragrance layers, combining scents, wearing them at the same time. And one of my favorite layers is Sauvage and Aventus. I almost said Saventus, which I guess it would make sense. But, and I said in that video too that, I didn't come up with that. Myself and other people have been doing that layer for years, and some clone brands have done it as well. And I brought up Parfums Vintage, X-Batch, and X-Batch Intense. I didn't even think of Club de Nuit Urban Man Elixir, but this is one too. And so again, it's just kind of proof of concept, right? I mean, it's just now when clone brands are mixing the two together and selling it, and it's selling really well, that shows you that layer is good. Now, this one here, it's a little bit more complex than that because when I layer Aventus and Sauvage together, I don't get something that smells like this. So there is still a little bit of a difference. I actually find this to just be a little bit sweeter. And again, that's kind of why I keep going back to Luna Rosa Carbon, but I think there's a little bit more going on behind the scenes of this one, but that still gives you an idea of what it's all about. It is a great performer. We're talking Sauvage, that DNA, which is typically high performing, and Creed Aventus and all of its clones, for the most part, usually perform pretty well too. So you kind of have both of those combined here. And this one, it's not going to leave you hanging anytime soon. You're also looking at about, $40 to $50 for this too. So, it's cheaper than buying an Aventus clone and a Sauvage clone, really. So it works out to be an okay deal. All right, now let's go over to YSL Y Elixir. This one was met with quite a bit of pushback, and understandable, but I still like it. The reason why it's understandable, and it is a little bit frustrating, it's not, I think we were all kind of expecting it to follow in the similar footsteps of Sauvage Elixir, something where it's almost nothing like the original Sauvage. In fact, it is nothing like the original Sauvage. Very masculine, very, very strong and intense. This one is not really in that same type of way. You get a little bit of oud in here, and you get the geranium and the amberwood and all that stuff. I think an olebanum or something is what they list off too with that oud, but the oud isn't overpowering. It's not nearly what most people were expecting, but it is still something that is going to be a bit heavier, sweeter, and stronger than your usual Y Eau de Parfum or Y Le Parfum. It is still a more intense version, just not in a drastic way, and especially not in a way to where it makes the price justified. So this is me saying, you know, it's probably not worth everybody's time and money to just go out and blind buy it right now. You know, it's because 60 ml still, whatever it goes for, $100 or so on discounters. It's a lot of money, but it is a strong performer though. So that's kind of why it's in here. I have it. I paid full retail for it. And so, you know, I like how it smells. I'm going to wear it. I'm going to use it, you know, because I have it. If you don't have it, you know, maybe hold off, try it first or something. But, you know, it's just, at least it is a good performer. Next up, we have Ralph's Club Elixir. This is actually a really impressive release. You know, the Eau de Parfum is fine. The Parfum is better. So far, this one is the best, in my opinion. And I'm sure they are nowhere near close to being done. Well, this year we got the Eau de Toilette going back, you know, the opposite direction. And honestly, that one is really good too. I actually like the Eau de Toilette better than the Eau de Parfum. Really nice, fresh one. But the Elixir here is still, in my opinion, the best one. Price is already working its way down to just a more respectable price point compared to retail. And really, I mean, it's just the most intense, most rich version of Ralph's Club yet. You still get some of that new style aromatic amberwood sweetness that is just very prevalent in a lot of men's fragrances. But again, just more focus on some heavier, sweeter, woodier notes in here. And almost like a kind of an olebanum sweetness, a little bit of a patchouli note too. And I don't know if those are listed off, but that's just kind of, I'm spitballing what I pick up on here. I can't remember the note breakdown, but it's considerably heavier than the Eau de Parfum and even the Parfum. So in my opinion, this is really the one to get. Honestly, it would probably be this and the Eau de Toilette are two of the best right now. So definitely something to check out. Another good performer. Gucci Guilty Elixir. You know, I've talked about this one here and there where it makes sense because I like it because it smells a lot like Reflection Man 45 Extrait, which is right now, it's one of my favorite niche fragrances, man. You know, I remember when the Eau de Parfum of Reflection Man was getting hyped up back, you know, I don't know, whatever it was, 7, 8 years ago or something. It was just really popular, even though I think it had been out for a while before that. It was just, you know, everybody was talking about it. And I remember getting it, and I loved it since day one, but performance was always a little bit of a letdown for me. And finally, after, you know, several years, they came out with a Extrait concentration at 45% oil concentration, which is really high. You know, I don't know what the average is, but typically maybe a 15 to 20% or something like that. But so more than double of what you normally get. It's a powerhouse of a scent, really strong. Comes with a high price tag, but it's kind of working its way down here and there into the upper mid 200s. So, you know, it's expensive, and yet so is this one. But it does have that similar DNA, the orange blossom and white florals. You know, and it's a 60 ml bottle, and it's still $120 or $115 or something at discounters. So price per milliliter, it is high, but at least you're not paying as much out of pocket for the amouage, I guess. And it's a good performer too. Obviously, that's why it's in here. Same thing with Lamal Elixir. What a good release. It's probably, at least as far as, you know, I don't know, unique and community-friendly scents, it's probably one of their best yet. What do I mean by that? You know, the original and ultra male, they're kind of just built for the masses, really. I mean, look at all the hate ultra male has gotten. I love it, and I'm not afraid to admit it, but not everybody does. Lamal Le Parfum, I think, was a step away from that a little bit, kind of giving people in the community a bit more. And I think this one was like a full commitment to like, okay, here's something with honey and tobacco. Still get some of that original DNA, the vanilla, the lavender, but it is substantially more unique and well blended. And even a nice little noticeable bump in quality too with this elixir. Not to mention, it's a true parfum, not like Lamal Le Parfum, like an Eau de Parfum Intense, and also custom presentation, or at least custom bottle. It's different. It's different than all the other ones. You get a bigger little loop here for your safety, and then those lines, that is actually the glass, so you can see the level inside. You know, you can't really, but believe me, it's there. The outside part, it's texturized. You know, they really put some good time and effort and thought into this bottle. So it does look like a more premium option, which is nice because it is a more premium option. Invictus Victory Elixir. This is one of the best Invictus fragrances out right now. And I haven't, you know, I've said that a million times now. I would say this and the Parfum, they're the best ones. Not counting Aqua 24, which is a travel exclusive. Good luck getting it. So as far as what you can buy, this is one you should look into. Invictus Parfum, it's soapier, it's fresher, more of an all year rounder. This one, Victory Elixir, has an incense, vanilla, tonka. It's going to be more winter appropriate. You know, fall would be a good time too, but I think especially winter is when I really find this one to be, appropriate for. Wow, fantastic! Almost has like this caramelized sweetness off the opening, almost a gourmand caramel tiramisu dessert, like textured sweetness is kind of how I would describe it. I don't know, there's something else that's on the tip of my tongue that I can't really think of, but it's really, really good. I'm trying to think. It's some sort of like dessert item that, I don't know. I'm struggling with this. And I've smelled this one a lot too, but you know, sometimes when you really just focus in on something and you spray it a few more times, and it kind of goes back to what I've said before too, this is one of those scents where the more I smell it, the more I like it. Because I discover things about it that I didn't really notice it before. You know, perfect example right now. It's just I'm picking up on something that maybe I just didn't pay attention to before or something, but really, really nice opening. This one isn't really anything like the other Invictus fragrances, which is what makes it so good. And so, yeah, I mean, it's already $90 to $100 on discounters. That is not bad for an elixir. You know, for an Invictus, it's still more expensive than the original, which is a $50, $60 scent or something like that. But I think for what you get here, $90 to $100 is more than fair, especially because it's a great performer. For a lot of you guys who don't like Invictus, that is one that you should consider looking into. Last up, we have Sauvage Elixir. This was just kind of an instant at the top of the list for me. I didn't even have to think about it. And when I was putting this video together, this was the first one I grabbed. And I'm sure most of you guys, thinking in your head the same thing, elixir fragrances, strong ones. Sauvage Elixir, it has to be in here. Doing this video without Sauvage Elixir almost would make it like invalid, because how could you not put Sauvage Elixir in here? This one was very just, I wasn't expecting anything about this at all. Wasn't expecting another Sauvage. I wasn't expecting it to smell like this, meaning nothing like Sauvage. And so I was just completely blindsided by it. I mean, you can go back and watch my original first impressions. It's still there. I wasn't super crazy about it when I first got it. It wasn't computing. It didn't make any sense to me. And then I started to go back to it more, and I'm like, well, maybe I'm just being foolish. Like, why does it have to smell like Sauvage? It doesn't have to. While it would have made more sense and maybe would have been more exciting to cultivate a brand new fragrance line and start building flankers off of something new, that would have been wonderful, but they didn't, and there's nothing we can do about it. And so, I started to come around to this one. The other thing is the price still is, but especially when it was brand new and no discount at all, is outrageous. I mean, it's $180, I think, for 60 ml at retail. Discounters are having it for anywhere from like $135 to $150 now. So, depending on what the deals are, where you're shopping, it's coming down. They have 100 ml bottles now too, which is a way better price per milliliter. I think retail it's $220. So 180 versus 220, and you're getting, 100 mLs versus the 60. It works out to be a better deal, but it is still expensive. And, it's all about the warm spices and the sandalwood. That's pretty much it. Cinnamon, licorice, sandalwood, nutmeg, cardamom. That's basically it. No ambroxan focus, no lavender and black pepper and bergamot, if I didn't say it already. It just doesn't have Sauvage DNA in it, other than just the name in the bottle. But it is ridiculously strong. And, you know, we do have samples of that one, along with a couple of these others, over on our website, decantcenter.com. Given the price point of a few of these, you know, it's going to be up to you if you want to blind buy. I blind buy everything, but that's me. You know, if you're not into that, we'll help you out. We'll get you hooked up. We ship samples all over the U.S. every day of the week. Love to help you out and make sure you don't make a costly mistake by blind buying something like any of these or any other scent out there. And I'll link all these full bottles down below as well. That's really going to do it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.